We've been talking with Ken Abramowitz, and we've got Rod Martin here. And Rod, you know, Ken is just an amazing guy. I mean, ranked 15th out of 15,000 analysts in the Analyst Hall of Fame. Brilliant man. He's, called us from Israel, actually, is where he is now. And he writes on the importance of nations in the Treaty of Westphalia. I know that's important to you. Tell us, what are your thoughts?
Well, it is, and this is a great article, and I'm glad you shared it with me. Look, right now, the idea of nationalism is being demonized regularly, consistently, continually by people who are really against the idea of nations at all. They want to demonize it as, you'll hear, white nationalism. Funny, they never actually condemn black nationalism or any other kind of nationalism, but nationalism is about Hitler. Nationalism is about the Klan. Nationalism is the opposite of imperialism. We have to be very, very clear about what nationalism is. Nationalism is the breaker of empires. Wilson spoke of it in terms of the right of self-determination. That's how you don't have an Austro-Hungarian empire dominating all of Central Europe anymore. Instead, you have an independent Czechia and Slovakia and Poland and Hungary and Croatia and Slovenia and so forth. You have an independent India instead of a bunch of Indians who are under the heel of London. For that matter, you have an independent America, not under the heel of London. The empires of a prior age, including the Soviet Empire, which is trying to reassert in Ukraine at the moment, are all about this idea that an unelected group of people from another country should have the right to tell you how to live.
Oh.
Now, the reality is, globalization gives us many, many good things, but globalization is not the same thing as globalism. And globalism is increasingly just another word for imperialism. It is about unelected people somewhere else telling you how you must live without your input into it. This thing you're talking about with the World Health Organization, you don't get a vote on who belongs to the World Health Assembly. You don't get a vote on who is the General Secretary or who heads the World Health Organization, but we're going to give him sovereign power to determine whether you can go to work or not. This is insane. The entire purpose of the American Revolution, which, by the way, started a nation, as opposed to remaining part of an empire, was not just no taxation without representation, but the idea that a particular group of people anywhere in the world should have the right to rule itself, to make its own decisions, to be free.
You're sounding like Nigel Farage, who was here in the Economic War Room, talking about why the people in London should not be under the control of the people in Brussels.
Which is absolutely true, and Nigel's fantastic, and part of the reason he's fantastic is, and this is distinct from the idea of nationalism, he is a patriot. He loves his nation. His nation is a group of people that's basically an extended tribe, which is basically an extended family. There's nothing wrong with the French nation or the German nation, and if those nations want to combine into a European superstate, good on them, have at it. But if the people of Britain do not wish to be part of that superstate, which at present is governed by a bunch of unelected bureaucrats in Brussels, over whom the average person in England or Scotland has zero say, then they shouldn't have to. And that's exactly why we had an American Revolution. We didn't want to be governed by people we didn't elect, who didn't share our values, didn't share our point of view, and didn't care.
It goes a little further here in the United States, though, because we are United States, but every state has a group of people in it that wants to have control over their own lives too, right?
Absolutely, and that is one of the brilliances of the American Revolution, that we have this dual sovereignty. Florida doesn't wish to be governed the way California is governed, and California doesn't wish to be governed the way Tallahassee governs Florida. So we get to not have that.
I don't know why they don't.
It's
I like
amazing.
what Tallahassee's doing.
I know. Go Ron DeSantis, best governor in America. But we get to have have a say over our own lives, different from California. And at the same time, we have the shared values that all Americans share. And Washington doesn't represent them terribly well right now, but in the main, they do. So the key issue here with the people who claim that any sort of nationalism is necessarily racist and awful is just the stupidity of it. America has never been a race or a place. It's an idea. It is this shared set of values captured in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and we have voluntarily united into a nation because we share those values.